What is going on, guys? So today I'm going to talk to you about freestyle frames, flat frames, or anti-rocker frames. What should you go with? There's so many different choices out there. What should you go with? And I think we're going to start off with flat frames, okay? Flat frames are where the industry progressed from. That's where it started from. So we started at regular four down recreation skates. Okay, so that's where rollerblading originated, was with four down flat. Okay, then it moved on to anti-rocker, which is two smaller wheels that you'd put in the center. And what you'd be noticing when you'd be skating, at least back in the day, is they would start rattling around. If you had plastic ones, they would start rattling around. If you had rubber ones, you're still somewhat having the issue that you'd have with a flat setup, which is the rubber would catch occasionally. And then we progressed to these. So this is my current setup. This is called a freestyle frame. And basically, this whole piece right here is plastic. Okay, so what are some of the advantages and disadvantages of going with each? So with flat, you're going to get, it's going to go fast. Okay, that's the idea. It's going to go fast. Disadvantages is you get a thing called wheel bite. Now, they do offer frames that will help alleviate some of the wheel bite. Okay, but if you want to skate flat on every frame and just expect it to work, it won't. Okay, so some frames are set up to be skated anti-rocker, and some frames are set up to be skated flat. So if you like doing, let's say, a Machio, and you're looking to do, like, you don't do that many frame grinds, flat might be the way to go. Now, they do offer frames where the two wheels, like if you look at, I'll show you on my skate, where the wheels are further apart, okay? So they're closer to the edge here, and this gap is really big. That would be good if you're looking to skate flat. So you can skate four wheels, but it also gives you a really big gap, and it gives you the gap in the center of your skate is bigger, so that it eliminates wheel bite. So what wheel bite is when you're grinding a frame trick. So let me just go back to this example. If you had four wheels here, and you're grinding on a frame trick, your wheel would hit whatever you're hitting, and it would cause you to, fall off the trick or stop grinding, okay? So that's what wheel bite is. And so anti-rocker is just having two middle wheels. So you have bigger wheels on the outside and then smaller wheels on the inside. And this was the progression of it. So it started with flat, it went to anti-rocker, and then it moved on to freestyle. Okay, so that's pretty much your three types of frames if you're going to be doing aggressive. And then there are others, just depending, like big wheel skates, big wheel frames, and things of that nature. So it just depends on what you're looking to do. So with the anti-rockers, though, if you have plastics, once you start wearing those down a little bit, they're going to start rattling. At least they did back when I skated them. I'm not sure whether they've eliminated that since then. We're talking, last time I skated anti-rocker was probably like 15, 20 years ago. Maybe not 20 years ago, but like 10 to 15 years ago, I'd say, was the last time I skated anti-rocker. And then I moved on to freestyle. And that's what I skate now. My personal preference is freestyle. So I will say this. It's a matter of what you think you would want to skate. I personally was watching Feast, and that's a rollerblading competition, the Feast, and then they also have like skateboarding, biking, and all that. But a lot of the skaters in Feast are skating flat, and the reason for it is because they're doing a hard 50-second run, and you got to throw down tricks and do backflips and things. So you need that speed, okay? You need that intense push. If you're just skating street, okay, you don't really need that. If you're a skater that likes to do a lot of gaps, you might want to skate four down. If you're a skater who does aggressive, but you also have family and you want to go in, you'd be able to use them to roll around and go to the park or something. you might want to skate 4 down. So there are some options for people who like to skate 4 down. I personally don't. I think it's for, some of the reasons I just listed might be the reasons why you'd want to do it. But 4 down is mainly for competition skaters, okay? If you're a competition skater, you skate in a lot of comps. And, but even still, if you're not doing like a 50-second run and you're not, you're basically, what you do is a lot of grinds, you might want to go with either anti-rocker or freestyle. If you do a lot of gaps, you could go with flat, and flat is one of those things that you need to get used to doing. It's not going to be something where you throw the skates on and then you can instantly go do all the tricks you could do on anti-rocker. It's not going to work that way. You're going to have to get used to it. I know that Joey Chase, the famous rollerblader Joey Chase, I used to skate with him back in the day, and he used to skate flat. I was like, you're crazy. Because it seems like it would be very, very hard. So me personally, I've never skated flat. Okay? And so I've always skated either anti-rocker or freestyle. And the reason for that is I like to do grinds. Now, I've also done some pretty big gaps, okay? And I didn't skate flat, but I did some big gaps. Back when they had the physics frames, which were basically made to take all the shock out of your foot, I did a decent sized gap with those physics frames. And I don't believe I was skating 4 down. So, there are frames available out there that if you wanted to skate, you could get some speed, but you can still get the grinding. And that's the best of both worlds, and that's what I'm going to give you. So, the 50/50 Gore frames, I believe they have an aluminum frame, and then you can design the walls however you want. So you could basically design walls for freestyle, you can design walls for flat, you can design walls. So you could design walls for anti-rocker, you can do it however you want. So that works out pretty good, and so if you wanted to go with those, hit up Back to Blading, shout out to him. And so my skate, and I feel like it's the best of both worlds. So I have large wheels on the outside, and that with ABAC 9 bearings. So back when I was growing up skating, before you had cars, you were skating everywhere you went to, or your parents were driving you. But if you were going to go skate local and have a sesh, everybody had to just skate there. And by the time we got done skating to the spot, and I live in Florida in the summertime, it gets very hot, and now we were all exhausted. And on top of that, we had, our wheels were like super small, and our bearings were, we would skate in the rain, so our bearings didn't work very good. What we used to do as a trick back in the day would be like spray WD-40 in the bearings. The only issue with that is it cleans them out and it makes them ride faster, except they get really, really loud. So, whatever setup you're going to skate, make sure your wheels are good. And I never knew about the wheel hardness or durability, okay? So, when I was growing up, okay, I was into skating. I wanted to get some new wheels. I would get like K2 or USD wheels, and they were really soft wheels. And I had no idea. I didn't know what I was doing. But I went and bought a bunch of soft wheels. I would skate one time, and the things would come off the cores or start chunking. So decoring is like when the center part of the wheel just comes off. Or, let me fix that. Or they just start chunking out through one session. That's because the wheels are very soft. So what I'm getting, and what I decided to do was get harder wheels. And the harder wheels eliminate the chunking, and they're gonna last a lot longer. Okay? What the wheels are designed to do is give you a little bit of grip, and then at the same time give you last longer. So 89A is what I would recommend. You can go with like 85A, and that number just tells you how hard the wheel is. The harder the wheel, the longer it's going to last. So if you have shock absorbers in your skates, you can go with a harder wheel because that's what the softer wheel is going to give you a little bit more grip and it's going to offer a little bit of shock absorption. So if you have shock absorbers, go with a harder wheel. If you don't have shock absorbers in your skates, and all you'd have to do is pull your liner out and you can see if you have a shock absorber or not. Okay? So, my personal setup though, I use big wheels so that when you're skating, if you have to skate to a spot, now obviously I drive to a spot, but if you're going to skate park, having big wheels makes it easy to roll around. So I like this setup because it gives me the ability to cruise. So I'm getting that feeling of skating flat with rolling really fast, and but I don't have anything in the center to keep me from grinding very well. So you also need to know about wheel sizes. What size wheel do you want to go with? Well, I skate bigger wheels because I feel like it's easier to roll, easy to maintain. You know, you can maintain speed, and I feel like it's easier. Okay, now what I do is I skate big wheels with ABAC 9 bearings. So the bearings are going to make you roll faster. So they have ABAC 3, 5, 7, and 9. And if you have ABAC 9s, obviously they're going to go the fastest. So if you have ABAC 9s on big wheels, it's going to make it where it's easier to keep up your momentum. And you can roll around. Like my skates just roll around really easily. It's very easy to roll around in my skates. And I like that. And so with the freestyle, you're not having any issues that you're going to have with flat or with anti-rocker. So basically the H block, which is the piece in the center that enables you to grind, that H block is all plastic, okay? Now what I like about these frames in particular, and the reason why I got them, is this plastic piece right here is all one solid chunk, okay? And then it attaches to the frame with 2 bolts, okay? In order to snap these frames, you would have to break this break that whole piece right there, and then snap through the frame underneath, which is not likely going to happen. So these are going to offer me, like my groove. So if you look at the groove is right here. This offers me all of this to play with. So I can go from here to here. You know, I can adjust my skates however I like in order to make it skate. So if you're just getting into skating, what do you want to do? Do you want to do a lot of grinds? Do you still do a lot of recreation? What do you want to do? Because there is a setup for every person. You just have to figure out which setup will work for you. If you like doing a lot of grinds, get freestyle skates. Because I feel like it was a progression thing. It was a progression from flat to anti-rocker, and then we ended up at freestyle. So I think the progression ended at freestyle, and then you can go on to big wheel frames and things of that nature. But if you like to do grinds, get a freestyle frame. I think you're going to have the most fun doing grinds on a freestyle frame. I wouldn't go really with, on my old frames, I had the 50-50 juice blocks. So I had about Kaiser frames, and I modded them to put 50-50 juice blocks on there. And so that's another option. But that's like a freestyle thing as well. So 50-50 juice blocks is going to give you like a freestyle thing, so might as well just go ahead and get some freestyle frames. Okay, that's my personal opinion. I do freestyle with big wheels, and I like that. That's really good. So make sure your bearings are good. You know, you don't want to, the last thing you want to do, especially if you're like 15, and you have to go skate to all your spots, make sure your bearings are good. Talk to your parents and explain to them that you need ABAC 9 bearings. You need good bearings. ABAC 9s or ABAC 7s. Good bearings. And then your wheels, if you put big wheels on there, it's going to be a lot less work to get to your spot. So and that's something that I didn't really consider growing up. And then we would get to the spots and we would be like super tired, and we couldn't, you gotta drink like a gallon of water before you can even start skating, So whatever it is that you are planning on doing, you know, base what you're going to buy on what you're planning on doing. So if you wanted just to have a good all-around skate, I would personally get big wheels with A-back 9s and put freestyle frames on there. Now that requires modding your skates a little bit in the toe area. So you have to cut out a little bit on the toe and a little bit on the front just to get them to fit depending on the wheel size. So I would just say that depending on the wheel size is going to determine how much you need to take out. So you have like 72 millimeter wheels, you have 68s, you have 58. So you could there's all different sizes of rollerblade wheels and hardnesses. So what you'd like to go with if you want like a kind of like a somewhat big wheel is probably a 64 millimeter with 90A hardness. And what that'll do is you'll get wheels that will last a long time, okay? And they won't chunk out on you. So remember I was explaining to you that I had that issue with wheels chunking out. So I've used these same wheels on my skates for a few different pairs of skates, and they're still working just fine. They have not chunked out. And anyways, but I hope you enjoyed this video on flat versus anti-rocker versus freestyle. Go with what you like. Think about what you're going to do before you spend any money. What are you looking to do? What do you enjoy doing? Do you enjoy skating coping? Do you enjoy grinding? If you like grinding more, I would go personally with freestyle. That's what I like to do. I like to grind more. And occasionally I'll do some gaps, but my personal thing, what I'm going to do the most is grind. So I'm going to get a skate that's really good at grinding. And so that's why I would get freestyle. And I personally think if you're not a competition skater, you don't really need to skate flat. If you're skating street, you really don't need to skate flat unless you're doing some huge gaps. Unless you're Brian Aragon and doing big gaps like he did or Haffy, you don't really need to skate flat. Okay? Now, I do see the need for it. If you're doing some really big gaps, you may need to skate flat so you don't want to snap your frame. You might, you could snap your frame if you have a freestyle or anti-rocker frame. You could snap your frame if you're doing a big enough gap. But if you're doing anything under like 8 or 9 feet, then you're probably fine, Okay? Alright guys, thanks for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe. Hope this was informative and helped you out so that you can know what kind of frames to get, what kind of wheels you would need with those frames, and what kind of bearings you need. So, hope this helped you out. Hit that like button, subscribe.